A lot of my work involves fashion photography, so whether that means street style photos at New York Fashion Week, or my wife's blog, or commercial work, I'm shooting clothes, making them look good, and spotting clothes that look good to me. So at this point, I have a pretty clear idea of what looks good on other people, but I kind of neglect my own wardrobe sometimes. I know enough to look professional and fit in on the job, but you know what I could really use is a nice suit. Unfortunately, that's not really my area of expertise. Since I don't really know things about suiting, I need to talk to some experts that do. So I came to Henry Singer. It's easy for me to tell you about clothes that I like, but it's not always clear to me what details about a particular garment attract me to it. I'm missing the vocabulary of an expert. Henry Singer has been a staple of men's fashion in Western Canada since 1938, and their new flagship store in downtown Calgary is where I can find an expert to take my suiting to the next level. Great. This is Reed. He's the clothing buyer here and spends a lot of time in Italy searching for the finest tailoring and drinking very small coffees. So everything I know about suiting is that the way that it fits is kind of the most important thing. What's the difference that I'm going to find between a $500 and a $1,500 suit?
Well, there's great options at $500, and you certainly can find something that fits. At $1,500, you're stepping it up into the next game, which for us is a little bit more about the construction and the fabric.
There are two primary ways for a suit to be constructed. Fused, which is when the garment's inner linings have been glued, or full canvas, where the linings have been sewn, which allow them to move with the body. The benefits of this are that over time, your body heats up the canvas and it gradually takes the shape of your body, so the more you wear it, the better it fits you. It's still possible to find a suit that fits great at a lower price point, but as you spend more, that construction will not only give you a longer lasting suit, but the fabric will look and feel much nicer. When I'm trying to evaluate if a suit really fits me, what are the things that I need to be looking at to know whether I'm wearing the right suit or not?
Yeah, of course. The number one thing is the things that can't be altered. So the shoulder cannot be changed. We cannot let out a shoulder or take in a shoulder. That's the most important part. Also, there's a certain allowance that you are available to alter goods. So if something is too tight, it can only be let out so much. If something's too big, it can only be taken in so much.
Okay, cool. Well, let's try on a few of these and you can show me what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Even the most expensive suit will look awful if it doesn't fit you right. But what I'm not totally clear on is how can I be sure that it is fitting me right? Does this fit me right now?
No, it's too big in the coat waist. You're also getting the chest is breaking across here, and I can see it in the shoulder that it's fitting about a size too big.
This is definitely the biggest problem I see with average guys walking around: baggy suits. I might personally prefer a slimmer than average fit, but so many guys have way too much extra fabric hanging off of them. It's not a good look. Okay, so what about this whole thing I see guys doing when they walk into a store?
Yeah, the actual sleeve measurement is based on the arms at rest.
Right.
So you don't walk around like this throughout the day. You may drive like this.
More, hands in my pockets maybe.
So that doesn't really matter. What does matter is there's a general rule of thumb. The sleeve should kind of hit where the wrist meets the thumb.
All right, we have another suit here that I like this more right away. Do you? Does this fit me?
Yeah, this one for sure is a better fit. So you can see again through the coat waist, the fit is spot on, where it's not too loose, it's not too big. The shoulder is fitting really, really well, even down through the sleeve. The chest isn't breaking at all, so this is the right fit for you.
So if this were too small for me, where would I see it? Like, what do I need to look out for?
So if it were too small, there's only certain points that can be let out. We look at the side seams along either side of the jacket or through the back through the center seam. So if you felt it was too tight, we can certainly give you a little bit more room through the waist or through the back.
Now that I have my suit picked out, it's time for the extremely critical step of tailoring. Any guy with an average-ish body will be able to find something off the rack. This is something I didn't really realize going into this, that made-to-measure or custom suits are only really required if you've got an uncommon build. For example, huge muscles all over the place. Otherwise, find a nice suit that fits and get it tailored. Those final details can make all the difference. For example, where your pants fall on your shoes. If you're a pretty conservative guy, your pant can just barely start to create a slight break over your shoe, but if it starts folding over, it looks sloppy. If you want to go down the more European route, showing an inch or two of ankle is acceptable and super cool. Personally, I'm going to land somewhere in between. So after a few days of patiently waiting, I got the call that my suit is ready. And like that, I have a new favorite suit. I learned a lot in this process going through dozens of suits with somebody that's really qualified to give me advice that I can't really figure out just looking at stuff on the rack or looking at suits on other people. I really have to try them on and have somebody point out all the little issues with it. Some of the most common problems I've had buying my own suits in the past is when there's a little bit too much space behind the collar and it separates. This sits very nicely along the back. The sleeve and the jacket length are well proportioned, and there's a good balance between being able to move around, but it's still slim fitting. Like, basically, it's the shape of my body. That's what I was hoping for. Of course, when you buy a suit, you're not buying it in isolation. You're planning on a long-term wardrobe. So I bought a slightly bolder check since I already had a basic gray and dark blue suit. I know a lot of people's first suit might be black, but I actually haven't bought a black suit yet, and I don't really feel like I need one. It's a really formal color. It's not as versatile, and you'll get a lot more wear out of some of these other colors. This is also the highest I've ever hemmed my pants. I've always thought it looks great on other guys, but I've kind of been too conservative to go there myself. And I'm really glad I did. I think it looks really cool. For my shirt, I decided to go with white because you can never have enough white shirts. They get dirty pretty quickly. And what I wanted was a slightly more formal shirt that still has collar structure. So usually I'll wear button downs that have, a button here to keep the collar from flopping around. This is a bit stiffer of a shirt and has this extra wide collar spread. And importantly, it's not going to droop down and look sloppy when I'm not wearing a tie. A lot of my favorite things about this suit aren't even going to come across in the video because it's the way that it feels and the way that it moves. I really recommend that you go and try on some very expensive suits that you can't afford just to know what they're like and know what the difference is when you're shopping for a suit that you can afford in the future. And thank you again to Henry Singer, because having somebody like Reed guide me through this process was incredibly helpful, and I have a much clearer understanding of what I'm looking for now. So next time you're in Calgary, be sure to go see them at 8th Avenue Place. And next time you're on Instagram, come see me.